Okay, we're starting tonight a new sikha. This is a sikha, as you see, from Yud Shvat, Tavshim Mem Zayin. If you want to follow online, so take out your Sefer HaSichas, Tavshim Mem Zayin, Chelik Aleph, on page 302. This is a sikha that the Rebbe said for the Siyum Rambam that year. Now this sikha will be discussing primarily something that we all know. Chazal tell us that before Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Hanavi will come to let us know the good news that Mashiach is about to arrive. So the Rambam in Hilchas Malachim brings this. It's not just a medrash, but the Rambam brings it la'alacha as well. And there are various opinions exactly regarding the timing of the coming of Eliyahu Hanavi. When exactly is going to come? And the Rambam brings both of these opinions as well. And the Rebbe will explain this extensively. This whole entire concept of Eliyahu Hanavi coming and letting us know about the arrival of Mashiach. Why isn't it good enough that Mashiach just comes and then just come? Why do we need Eliyahu Hanavi to be mevasa the gula in advance? That's what the sikha will discuss. Okay, so we're going to start the sikha at Sif Beis. Sif Aleph is just an introduction, just the timing of when the sikha was said and the Siyum Rambam. But in Sif Beis, in the second column, the Rebbe begins the subject. Bepeirik ha'achra in the Hilchas Malachim u'Mulchamais u'Melech HaMashiach. See it? Got it? Sif Beis. Yeah. Second column.
No, that's different base.
So, in the last chapter to Hilchas Malachim, it's always known as Hilchas Malachim, but if you look in the Kisvei Yad from the Rambam, that there are, so the full name of Hilchas Malachim is Hilchas Malachim, Mulchamais, and Melech HaMashiach. So the Rambam actually named the halachas of Melech HaMashiach. Shugam Siyum v'chaisim Sefer Yad. Also, the conclusion, the last pedic of the entire Sefer Yad. Kaisev Rambam, Kama Pratim B'negei LaSeder D'Yimos HaMashiach. So the Rambam writes certain details regarding how things are going to develop in the times of Mashiach. U'beneyem Gam Inyan HaKoshor Imachdusam Shel Yisrael. Amongst the things that Rambam speaks about, he also brings a subject related to the unity of Klal Yisrael that will come out when Mashiach comes. These are the words of the Rambam. If you read the simple words that it says in the Psukim of Navi, it appears as follows. In the beginning of the days after Mashiach arrives, there's going to be a huge war with two kings, one Gog and the other Magog, and they'll fight. It'll be a Muhammad, huge Muhammad that will take place after the arrival of Mashiach. There's a big discussion about this. Some say that it doesn't have to be fulfilled literally. We were already Yaitse, Muhammad, more than enough over history. And therefore, Muhammad's Gog and Magog, the way it's described in Tanakh, will happen Beruchnius, but it won't necessarily take place Begashmius. Okay, be it as it may, but let's learn the simple pshat. Russia and Ukraine, right? Good enough.
But did I have that sheet that
what? That this won't be Muhammad Gog and Magog anymore.
already he held World War II. Was it?
Menigei to Gzeiris and Ashmadis and the Chevle Mashiach. Could be the Rebbe said that we yaitze, but Menigei to Muhammad's Gog and Magog, I don't know if the Rebbe Mamash addressed it directly. Not sure. Okay, please. And then the Rambam continues, V'shakaidim Mulchames Gog and Magog, before this war. So in other words, this is after Mashiach comes. But before the Mulchama of Gog and Magog, Yamid Navi L'Yashi Yisrael L'Hachan Liba. So there'll be a Navi, this is Eliyahu Navi, that will get up and will straighten out and prepare Yidden's hearts for what's going to be happening here. Shanema, as the Pasuk says in Malachi, that I'm going to send Eliyahu Hanavi in this time period for Klal Yisrael to come and speak to them and strengthen them and so on. Okay, so this is, according to this opinion, Eliyahu Hanavi is not coming to give us the news about the arrival of Mashiach. Mashiach's here already. But there's other difficulties that Klal Yisrael will experience following after Mashiach comes, and that's where Eliyahu Hanavi comes in. Now, another point about Eliyahu Hanavi. We know every time you learn the Gemara, a shaila that the Gemara does not resolve, what does the Gemara say? Teku. What does teku mean? So there's the famous teku literally means may it stand. It remains as is, unanswered. But there's the remes.
What's the word again?
Teku.
Oh, teku.
Teku. And it's using the vrit as well, right? Teku.
Yeah.
When there's something unresolved.
Mm-hmm.
But the remes of teku is tishbi, yitaretz, kushis, va'aboyis. Tishbi, which is one of the names for Eliyahu Navi. Tishbi will answer all kushis v'aboyis, all questions, all unresolved matters. Eliyahu Navi will come and will clarify them for us. So now, if Mashiach comes, one of the biggest questions that there are in all generations, in all times, is the question of yichus. Question of yichus.
Yeah.
When you look at people, you see who's their father, who's their mother, to be sure, are they Yidden, are they not, and so on, the intermarriage and all kinds of things. To know for sure that a person is kosher and part of Klal Yisrael and everything's good with him. So once Eliyahu Hanavi comes, so he can just point out, you're in, you're out, you're good, you're not. Right? We think Eliyahu Hanavi would do that. Number one. Says the Rambam, no. Eliyahu Hanavi will not point at anyone to say that you are Tameh or someone else to point at him. People may have thought that he's Tameh, but to point at him and say that he's Toir. He will not say about anybody that has a chazakah, he has a presumption that he's kosher and part of Klal Yisrael that he's possible. And the reverse also not. And those that have already been presumed as psulim, he will not come and say, no, it's a mistake, they are kosher. He's not going to address any of this. He's going to leave everything as is. As far as the yichus of Klal Yisrael, Eliyahu Navi will not mix in at all. Elo losum, rather, elo losum sholei moilam. Eliyahu Hanavi comes to bring peace to the world. Right? He's coming to be mechazik to Yidden and bring peace to the world, and that's about it. Maybe regarding other sfeikis and shilas, as I mentioned, that the Gemara speaks about, in Torah, Eliyahu Hanavi will teach and resolve those shilas. But regarding the yichus of Klal Yisrael, Eliyahu Hanavi is not going to mix in at all. Now, Mamshech, the Rambam continues, there's another opinion about this. There are those that say, there's other medrashim that say, that as we always say, right, that Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come before the arrival of Mashiach. Some say that he's going to come 3 days before Mashiach comes. Various different opinions about that as well. But the point is that Eliyahu Hanavi is coming before Mashiach to let us know the good news that Mashiach is about to come.
Lashem Shalom Boilam.
Lashem Shalom Boilam. V'heishiv le'evavos albanim. What does v'heishiv le'evavos albanim literally mean? That the fathers and the children should get along. Shouldn't be any generation gap or any v'heishiv le'evavos albanim. It's Shalom.
And so we got 100% the Rambam.
Yeah.
The Gemara will be after Moshiach will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he said before, Moshiach will come to the Gemara, Yamid Navi.
Yeah.
That's before the coming of Moshiach? Or
After.
Moshiach will come?
After.
After.
Yeah.
When Moshiach comes, how could it be a war? How could it be like a... When Moshiach comes, everything is good. Everything is
That's what it would
taken
seem.
care of.
Yeah, that's what it would seem. But that's what the Rambam says there.
The beginning stage is going to be regular, right?
Oilam kimen hagyanaya, correct. Yeah,
No, you're right. No, you're right.
that's later.
That's
Yeah, the beginnings, yeah. The beginning.
V'tzarech lahavin. So the Rebbe asked two questions here on this Rambam. The first question is, let's continue. Ba'alacha shela achrei zeh. Now, in the next halacha, case of a Rambam, the Rambam continues and says, B'mei hamelech HaMashiach. When Mashiach comes, yisyachsu kulam al piv. Who's the one that's going to show regarding the yichus of Klal Yisrael, who has good lineage, who is included in Klal Yisrael? It's going to be according to Mashiach himself. Not through Eliyahu Hanavi, but through Mashiach. Now, which yichus will Mashiach be notifying us? Not regarding someone whether he is in Klal Yisrael or not. That's not what it is. Mashiach will come and clarify which shevet you belong to. Shemidia, Shazem Shevet Ploini, Vizem Shevet Ploini. He's going to let us know which shevet you belong to. Aval Eina Oime, again, similar to what we said before regarding Eliyahu Hanavi. Aval Eina Oime al Shein B'Cheskas Kashrus, Zem Mamzev Zevet. Someone that has a presumption of Kashrus and he's allowed to marry into Klal Yisrael. Mashiach is not going to come and say, no, you're really a mamzer. You're a descendant of a mamzer or a descendant of an eved. Shadinu shemishpache shenitma nitma. Halacha is once this family, even if they were from mamzerim, but once they are assimilated or included into Klal Yisrael and they are considered to be as kshedim, they have the halacha of kshedim, and we do not question this. That's what the Rambam says. Okay. Now, so it's known that every single word in the Rambam is precise. The Rambam himself writes that he writes a sefer clear and concise, not an extra word. So the Rambam is saying this basically the same point about Eliyahu and about Mashiach, that they're not going to mix into the lineage of a Yid to say if he's kosher, apostle, or so on. But the Rambam switches just slightly the way he says it, the way he phrases it regarding Eliyahu, and the way he phrases it regarding Mashiach. So in a move on, the question here is, Madua b'negei Eliyahu kaisav Rambam. By Eliyahu and Novi, the Rambam's expression is, he's not coming for this purpose. He does not come to passel people that have a cheskas kashrus, or he does not come to kasher those people that have a presumption of being passel. So the Rambam uses the expression of einoi ba. He's not coming for this purpose. Now, why does the Rambam say he's not coming? Why doesn't the Rambam say regarding Eliyahu and Navi like he does regarding Mashiach? Einoi oimer. That Eliyahu and Navi will not say, Al mishochzik kosher shu pasel, Al mishochzik pasel shu kosher. As the lashon that the Rambam says in the following halacha, ve'eino oimer. He uses the lashon of ve'eino oimer regarding Mashiach. Madua meshane v'kaisev einoi ba. Why does the Rambam use the expression ve'einoi ba that he does not come for this purpose? It's a very slight difference. I mean, the lashon of eino oimer or eino ba more or less means the same thing, but eino oimer means that he's not going to say so. Eino ba means that's not his tafkid. He's not coming for the purpose to say this. Why is the Rambam meshana the lashon? That's a shay there. Okay.
Eino Omer is more pashut.
It's eino oimer is more just direct. Eino oimer he's not going to say. Okay, it's a diuk, but by the Rabbi, every word in the Rambam is exact. So you have to understand this. Beis, another shaila here is the Rambam brings up two different subjects regarding Eliyahu and Navi. One shaila is the timing, when Eliyahu and Navi is going to come. But another shaila is, will Eliyahu and Navi mix into the yichus of Klal Yisrael? Will he come to clarify the yichus? Two different subjects. So the Rambam puts it all together though. If you look at the way the Rambam brings this halacha, the argument of here is, first opinion is Eliyahu and Navi comes after Mashiach comes. The second opinion says Eliyahu and Navi comes after Mashiach comes. So this is an argument regarding when Eliyahu and Navi comes. Does he come before the war of Gog and Magog, or does he come before Mashiach arrives? Before Mashiach comes, but right before. He comes right before to let us know that Mashiach is about to come. But everybody agrees here, Mashiach is not going to mix into the yichus of any Yid. He's just going to make peace amongst, like he says, that no one argues about. And if so, why doesn't the Rambam write it in a different order? The Rambam should first finish the point and bring both opinions regarding when Eliyahu and Navi comes. The first opinion saying, the second opinion, so first, you want to join Ma'ariv? So the first, the Rambam should bring the two opinions regarding when Eliyahu and Navi comes. And then, only afterwards, the Rambam could bring regarding what Eliyahu and Navi will do. That he's going to bring peace into the world. Why does the Rambam change the The Rambam brings the additional opinion regarding when Mashiach comes. He doesn't bring it when he brings up the subject in the beginning. Only after he goes into the whole discussion of what Eliyahu will or will not do. Even though regarding this, there's no argument. So basically, the Rambam sort of mixes the 2 points about Eliyahu and Navi. He starts off talking about when he comes, then he goes on to talk about what he's going to do, and then he comes back to the second opinion about when Eliyahu and Navi comes. Also the Shaila. Okay, seems to be just 2 questions that are very much just a diuk in the lashon of the Rambam, but the Rebbe will show how this tells us the real point, the depth of what the Rambam is saying here. All right, so if you learn this inyan that the Rambam brings, you have to remember the Rambam is a Sefer Halachas, not a history book. If the Rambam brings the timing of when Eliyahu and Navi comes, it means it's something that's relevant and it's a halacha. So it's a pella. Why does the Rambam bring this whole thing? The Rambam brings both days. It means it's negaya to know. It's an afgemina when Eliyahu and Navi comes. What's this whole thing about? My afgemina becomes he comes before, he comes after. What's the significance of this? Let Mashiach come, or let Eliyahu and Navi come, whichever one it is. Okay, so here the Rebbe asks another basic question. Yuvon bahaktim shaila nesefis. You can ask another question about this. Keitzad yitochim plukte. How's it possible for there to be an argument here whether Yav Eliyahu Yav Kaidim Lachames Goyim Magay or Kaidim Beis Mashiach, whether Eliyahu and Navi will come before Goyim Magay, after Mashiach arrives, or before Mashiach arrives. That is a heipech, a klal, such a kind of machlekes. It's the klal is shlititochim plukte b'mitzias. That there's no arguments when it comes to facts. This is an argument here about a fact about when Eliyahu and Navi will come. How could there be such an argument about this? That's the shaila here. So the main nekuda of this sikha will be the Rebbe will show didn't happen yet.
It's going to happen.
Right? Yeah.
Isn't every argument about like
No.
fact?
No.
It's not a thing that happened.
No.
It's something that's going to happen. So
Usually-
they're arguing when it's going to happen.
Correct.
Like, if you're saying you can't have an argument when Matan Torah was, if it was Shabbos or Sunday, it happened on Shabbos.
Everybody agrees it happened on Shabbos, but there is a machlekes whether it was
I'm
Vav
saying-
Sivan or Zayin Sivan.
Right, but I'm saying,
So
but
there
it
is a
happened.
machlekes. Happened already.
But here we're talking about something that's going to happen. So
Right.
it's Shabbos.
So the truth is, l'chayda, you have a point. The Rebbe is using this klal that there's no plukta b'metzias, that there's no argument b'metzias, and sort of stretching this klal. Usually, when do you apply this klal? That there's no machlekes b'metzias. If there's an argument about a fact, a scientific fact, is it A or B? Is it round or square? Exactly. I took the words out of my mouth. So you can't. That's not something you can argue about, right? That's usually what the concept of that there's no machlekes b'metzias. So very often when you see such kind of machlekes in the Gemara, the Mefarshim will come up and explain to you it's not really a machlekes b'metzias. There's something else behind it. It's probably a machlekes about the perception of a person, but it's not really an argument about the object itself, or about what's ikr, what's tafel. There's all kinds of isbeidim. Here, though, the Rebbe is using this idea that there's no machlekes b'metzias, even regarding something but will happen in the future, that there shouldn't be a machlekes b'metzias. There are probably other examples where there is a machlekes b'metzias regarding things that will happen in the future, but nevertheless, it's much geschmacker, for sure, if you could explain that they're not arguing b'metzias. Everybody agrees about the facts, but there's something deeper that they're arguing about. As we'll see, that's what the Rebbe will explain it. You could ask the same question regarding the second point over here. The Rambam paskins that Mashiach comes in the world just for one purpose, to make peace in the world. Not going to come and be doiche anybody from Klal Yisrael. He's not going to say that you are actually kosher and could be included in Klal Yisrael. That's not what he's going to do. So the Rambam says, if you look into, this is a Mishnah that speaks about this subject. You look into the Mishnah, there's various opinions about this. Makeh divrei Rambam u'b'si Masechta Yediyos. This is the last Mishnah, Masechta Yediyos. And here it says as follows: Omer Rabbi Shua, Mekubalani, Rabbi Yechanan ben Zakkai, Sheshama mi Rabbi. I have a tradition. I heard it from Rabbi Yechanan ben Zakkai, and he heard it from his Rebbe. The Rabbi me Rabbi, and he heard it from his Rebbe. Halach l'Moshe Sinai, tracing all the way back to Halach l'Moshe Sinai. She'ein eliyahu ba l'tamei l'tare l'tayr l'rachik l'karev. He's not going to say anyone is impure or someone is pure, or to distance anyone from Klal Yisrael, or to bring anyone into Klal Yisrael. Elo But there is a certain category of people that Eliyahu Hanavi will say something about their yichus. L'rachik hamakuravim b'zraya. Those that push their way into Klal Yisrael with force, like b'zraya, with their arm. Those are the people that Eliyahu Hanavi is going to be merachik. Everybody knows that they're puzzled. It's not Eliyahu Hanavi that's revealing this fact. They were included in Klal Yisrael by force. They were
That was the group with Yoshua.
they were bullies, and they got included into Klal Yisrael by force. So those are the people that Eliyahu Hanavi will be merachik from Klal Yisrael.
From back at some point when they pushed themselves.
Yeah,
in?
I guess you could say so. Yes.
Are we talking about what's the group?
There's a story about this.
Yoshua, that they tricked their way in.
The Gevinim.
Gevinim.
Maybe. I mean, they came to deceive Klal Yisrael. That they deceived. That was Gatus over here.
Maybe Yana Yamalach.
Maybe different.
Yanai was from Kohanim, no?
No,
His mother was a Yid. His father was a guy.
That's a Yid.
Or that's regarding
Well,
Akapanim.
finish.
Shakel machzikim oisam bepsulim el shenskar b'zraya. Okay, that we read already. Okay, let's continue. And also ulekarei ruchakim b'zraya. And Eliyahu Hanavi will be mekarev those that were distanced from Klal Yisrael, but also by force. So basically, anybody else that there's a suffix about, Eliyahu Hanavi will say nothing. But those individuals, whether they were included or whether they were sent away from Klal Yisrael, maybe Anusim, right? That was sent away from Klal Yisrael by force, those are the people that Eliyahu Hanavi will determine and say who belongs in and who's out. That's the halacha l'moshe misina that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says. Okay? Weiter, there's another opinion here. Rabbi Yehuda says, Lekarev, avoloi l'rachik. Eliyahu Hanavi is only coming to be mekarev. But those that are in, no matter how they got in, he's not going to distance anyone. Hamishpacha ksheira shenisrachka b'zroya hu mekarev. Those families that were pushed out of Klal Yisrael, that were bullied out of Klal Yisrael, he's going to be mekarev them. Aval einu merachik oisa sheniskarva b'zroya. Even those that pushed their way into Klal Yisrael b'zroya, Eliyahu Hanavi will not be merachik them. Second opinion. Third opinion, and this is the opinion. Actually, so another two opinions here. Lav Dafke, the Rambam is talking about the Indian of Gatus. The Rambam could be talking about we're talking here about other psulim as well. Mamzerim that can marry into Klal Yisrael, and there's the other kinds of Gatim, right? That you mentioned, the Nesinim, the Givonim, there are different kinds of Gatus that were not.
Well,
they're Gatim, but they can't marry into Klal Yisrael.
We have entire populations. They are Muslim from Spain.
That's a different story. They were in the Srachik, right? They were in the Srachik in Klal Yisrael. You're talking about those that were in the Skarev, right?
Okay.
Rab Shimon says, La Hashvais HaMachloikos. What is Eliyahu Hanavi coming for? All the arguments there are. Chayda means all the arguments in Taita. So Eliyahu Hanavi is coming to settle all these Machlokes and to know how to paskin. And then the Chachamim's opinion is, and this is how the Rambam paskins, Lo l'rachik v'lo l'karev. He's not going to be merachik anybody, not going to be mekarev anybody. Elalasais shalom ba'olam, just to bring shalom in the world. Shenema hina neicha shalech lechem es Eliyahu Hanavi v'goyme v'heishiv leivavos al banim v'leiv banim alavaisam. Now pasuk Rambam kedivrei Chachamim. So the Rambam paskins like the opinion of the Chachamim. Okay, so those are all the opinions that you have over here.
Interesting how Shalom can come about, not in necessarily way from Rav and Kar. True peace, it's not, you're not giving in. The MS has to come out. That's
Correct.
It's interesting how he's going to
But
that.
Al Pi Torah, those Yidden that are in Klal Yisrael, Al Pi Torah will stay in.
So what's the Shalom, like, how, when you bring about Shalom, usually it's, you're bringing the facts on the table.
Right.
It's just interesting how that would be without being Marach and the kind
Correct. Yeah. So now, the Pirish, the Halacha l'Moshe Sinai. How does this Mishnah that Rebbe just quoted begin? It quotes by Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai saying that he has Halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Now, what does Halacha l'Moshe Sinai mean? Halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Anytime you have anything, any pshat in a pasuk or any halacha that's a tradition from Moshe, Ein machlokes ben b'shum panim. This is a quote from the Rambam. This is a famous rule that the Rambam says regarding a halacha l'moishe misinai. There can be no arguments about this. So Mavaya Rambam Pirish Mishnah. So the Rambam explains, Lo nishma mi Moshe Rabbeinu olav hashalom zeh loshen. Moshe Rabbeinu did not necessarily say this exact words that is being quoted. Avol nishma mimenu zeh inyan. But this idea is a tradition. Halach la Moshe misinai. If you look in Chumash and you see what it says in the Psukim about when Mashiach comes and the words of the Torah, and Yidden will be spread around all over, all corners of the world. Then the Eibusha will bring everyone back. That's the Psukim that you have in Parshas Nitzavim. The Zulazeh, and besides this, V'higit lehem gamkein mipi agvura b'akdamoisav v'siboisav v'sheyaktim oisei ish leyashel le'aretz v'u'liyo. So besides this, you also have what it says in the Psukim that Eliyahu and Avi will come to prepare the world for the coming of Mashiach. V'u'liyo v'haidiya lehem sha'ish ahu lo yosef lo yigra b'teirah. Eliyahu and Avi is not going to add or subtract anything that's written in the Torah. Al v'yisalik v'yosir HaChamosim Bulvad. Eliyahu Hanavi will bring shalom in the world. How does he bring shalom in the world? We'll get rid of the Chamosim, all the troublemakers, all the Ganovim, and all the. There's no argument and there's no contradictions about this. Aval nafla machlokes berois sheyaser mahem chulu. In order to create peace in the world, so you have to get rid of bad people or ra b'chlal in the world. Which ra exactly will Eliyahu Hanavi get rid of? In order for him to make shalom in the world, which ra is it necessary to get rid of? That's the machlokes over here between all these opinions. In other words, there is a halach l'moshe misina that the main inyan of Eliyahu Hanavi is one thing: shalom, to bring peace in the world. But the question is, what's necessary to have real and lasting peace? So that's all the opinions that it says in the Mishnah. Okay, the Rabbi goes through this in detail. And there's more ha'aras on this as well. We'll continue Mitzvah next week. We'll see all the opinions about this.
So next week the same time?